Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. I swear this is one of the things that keeps me tuned into what day of the week it actually is, because they all just kind of seem to blur together.
And Tuesdays come quick. I don't know.
Were you just here yesterday?
Right. That's exactly how it feels. Didn't we just do this? All good. All
Yes,
good.
yes. So as I sit here and sip my cacao this morning while we have a conversation,
Mhm.
I have to tell you, I had a conversation with Joe yesterday, who
Yeah.
has also started drinking imbue cacao.
No puede ser.
It's
Wow.
true.
That's very exciting. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so see the influence that we have on people. But anyway, his comment was he's enjoying it, but he hasn't really noticed any effects of it yet. And that needed to be a longer conversation with him that I didn't have time to have at the moment. But I just love how my cat is making a mess here. Don't spill the cacao. But I just love how people are opening up to the beauty of cacao and what it has to offer. And um, people like my dad, like Joe, like who in a million years would have ever thought that they would start a cacao journey? And so here we are.
That's super exciting. I mean, what's cool is hearing folks that make it into a ritual and then seeing the, changes in their lives. So I think it was Dr. Elaine that told me years ago, I don't know how to get to where you're going, but I do know that one good decision begets another good decision. So if you just start with one little good decision, you'll make another good decision and it'll snowball and get you to where you want to be. So that for people like me that if I see that something has 50 steps, I'm like, oh, it's too many. Forget it. I'll never do it. I'm a take one step at a time kind of person. If you just start me with one little tiny thing, then I will be able to manage the next little tiny thing. But I don't like things that have lots and lots of steps for sure.
So one step, drink cacao. It's an easy step.
It is a good one.
So what's new in your world?
Well, I love talking about the weather. We still have lots of leaves, but they are every color of the rainbow. So certainly this is peak leaf season here. Cold and wet this week, but all good. It's kind of funky this time of year because I'm driving the kids to school in complete darkness. And when it's foggy, it's like driving into outer space. So that's always exciting, but on the upside, the deer are very active and so they're always around, and it has made for some really cool shots. I don't know if I shared the story last week about there was a little baby deer right by like the edge of my property, which is a high traffic, quote unquote, corner in my neighborhood because we're the first house as you drive up the mountain. So everybody passes by our house. So right on the corner, people were slowing down because it was just sitting there. And we have someone with a golf cart who drives around with his dog, and the dog got out, walked right up to the little deer. They were nose to nose, having a whole little conversation, but the deer didn't run away. It didn't do anything. It just sat there. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this. Let's see what happens. So I went outside. I sat down, I don't know, far enough away that I wasn't going to interfere with it, but close enough that I could actually see in detail. It took a bunch of pictures. Nothing. The deer was just sitting there, and I was like, all right, this is why I'm not a deer hunter. I don't have the patience for this. I gave it 40 minutes. I'm like, that's a lot of sitting outside and staring at this thing. As soon as I walked away, it got up and left. I'm like, poor thing. It was probably thinking the same thing. God, when is she going to leave so I can get out of here? So yeah. So we're learning from each other.
Yeah, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's
Well,
been neat.
speaking of leaves and mulch, I for a long time, I've had this dream of um, planting things, food in my yard. And I like the term food forest. I want my backyard. In addition to hosting the sweat lodge, I would also like it to become a food forest. But, here in Florida, the ground is mostly sand and things don't necessarily grow very well in sand. So, I was instructed the first step that I need to do is to completely mulch the yard and start to create some usable soil. And so they have this wonderful thing called chip drop. And so you just sign up and let them know you want a chip drop. And when one is available in your area, they will let you know a chip drop is coming your way. And they bring, the whole truckload and dump it in your front yard.
Wow.
So then we get to move it to the backyard.
Wow.
So
Is the premise that
Saturday,
it's free or?
it's free.
Ah,
And
okay.
the reason that, so normally like the landscapers and such that are, creating all this mulch, if they don't have a place to put it, they have to pay to dispose of it. And so here, it's a win-win. We want mulch, but who wants to spend all that money on a yard full of mulch? They need to get rid of mulch. And so it's a win-win situation. I think it's like a nationwide program where you can just sign up and get your chip dump. And so anyway, 57-year-old Julietta, like moving wheelbarrows of chips from the front yard to
So
the
you received
backyard.
it already. You received it already.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And so there's probably at least half of it is already in the backyard, but there is still a giant pile of mulch in my front yard. And it's been an interesting process. It's definitely a free workout. If anybody's in Fort Lauderdale and they want a free good workout, reach out. I got some work for you to do. And so it's
I
I'm
was
like,
gonna say,
I'm definitely feeling my age doing that, but also proud of myself for the amount of work that I did do, and I can still move. I did go to yoga last night on top of all of this, so it's all good, but a work in progress for sure.
I do think that moving like that will keep you young, absolutely. And also, two things come to mind. Number one, I bet there's some sort of CrossFit group that would love to come do it as some sort of challenge. That would be kind of fun. But two, every Florida high school kid needs volunteer hours. That would be a really great way to support the ministry, is come out and in one day, 15 teenagers, they'll get that done in 2 hours, and that could be a cool project. You might even be able to partner with I can't remember the name of it, but in Oakland Park there was like a food forest type of group that would do stuff like that. So that'd be kind of interesting. When I was little, we had oranges, avocados, bananas, limes, sour oranges, a ton of fruit trees, lychees. We had a lychee tree that was like the coolest thing ever. So yeah, it's all possible. Like you said, it's just a matter of getting the right soil and spending time with it.
Yes. We'll get there. We'll get there. So our topic today, inviting people to stop saying I'm sorry, how over apologizing diminishes your power. And it's been something that has been on my radar probably for a couple years, but lately it's been coming up a lot. So I thought it would be a good topic for us to talk about. And I do have to give some acknowledgement to my boyfriend. That is one of the things, like since our relationship started, he would correct me when I would apologize for something that needed no apology. And, really becoming aware of, the words "I'm sorry" fall out of our mouths all the time. And, almost to the point where it doesn't even have meaning because we just say it automatically so much for things that don't need an apology. It's kind of like we're saying, "I'm sorry for existing, for being." And I think that also devalues the meaning behind "I'm sorry." And so I think we all get to be more intentional with those words and when we use them, and to stop using them when we shouldn't be using them.
So what's an example of when you shouldn't be using them?
Like when you want to speak to someone and you just say, "I'm sorry, could you blah, blah, blah," whatever you're wanting from them. Like, that's not something to be sorry for. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, apology is like, you did something wrong. You caused someone's harm. Like, just, "I'm sorry, I want you to listen to me." No.
Okay. So what are some alternatives?
Yeah, and that is the question out there. Like, what I think like that incident, probably excuse me. Another one that comes up a lot is like apologizing all the time for arriving late. It's it's sometimes, like, if you're intentionally just being an asshole and making everybody wait for you, that's one thing. But in modern times, like, you can't control traffic, you can't control people having accidents, you can't control your kids needing something that you need to handle before you can leave the house. So cat attack there. But but the suggestion is, thank you for being patient and waiting for me to arrive. Yeah, those are what's coming to my mind right now. But do you find yourself doing this, saying "I'm sorry" when?
That's a good question. I mean, certainly I apologize, like someone shows up unannounced and my house is not as tidy as I would like, right? I might say, "Oh my gosh, please excuse the mess. I'm so sorry. My house is not presentable the way I would like it." I don't know that I don't know. I don't know that diminishes my power. I kind of feel like I'm acknowledging that, hey, this is not, I don't know how I would want my house to look when people came over, right? Like, I don't know. It's
But
very,
also not something that you have to be sorry for. Like, that's not, like, it's not harming anybody. It's not something that needs to be apologized for. Not something that needs to be apologized for.
I guess, but I think it's,
Please excuse the mess. Please excuse the mess is fine, but don't be sorry for it.
Isn't that just another way of saying I'm sorry? Like, please excuse this, right? I mean, that's what I'm sorry is, right? It's like, I lament that this happened, right? And, please excuse it. Like, they're so closely tied. Like, it's such a nuance. I don't know. To me, I think it really sits with, where are you coming from, right? Like, if you feel deep shame because your house is a mess and you're saying, "I'm so sorry," right? And you carry this burden of shame with you, well, then yeah, that's bad. Don't use the word I'm sorry. But I think it's kind of like how now, instead of saying you're welcome, this generation says no problem, right? So when you go to the store and you buy something and, you know, they hand it to you and you say thank you, and then the person at the register says no problem, right? I think it's the same thing as you're welcome. It's just the evolution of language, you know? I mean, I hear you. I hear that words have meaning and intent is important, you know? So, but I think it's
Be
more important.
impeccable with your word.
I get it. I get it.
You know, like being sorry implies that you made a mistake and you're doing something wrong. And
But isn't being late a mistake or no?
so, you know, I grew up in the if you're not early, you're late. And so technically you should plan to arrive early everywhere you go, and then you will never be late. And, you know, my mom was, this is why there's always a book in my purse, because if I get there too early, I'll just sit in the car and read my book for a little while before I go in. And I don't necessarily think that it has to be taken to that extreme, but I don't know, like if you're late for a wedding or late for a funeral or something really important that you need to be there, and it was out of your fault that you just didn't give yourself enough time to prepare and arrive on time, maybe an I'm sorry is warranted. But if you thought you left on time and you thought everything was going to be okay, like energetically, I don't think it serves you to apologize for that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing your best, you don't have to apologize for doing your best. And I had another thought and it vanished. But there's a layer of I'm wrong, I'm bad, I'm shameful, I'm guilty, of saying I'm sorry. And to attach that to every little thing is not energetically good for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, it's about being intentional with the words that you choose in the situation that you're in. And just being mindful of when you choose to use those words.
Yeah, I hear you. I think for me, I think it's more about intent and what you carry with you when you're saying I'm sorry, right? Like if you say I'm sorry 750 times a day, then let's check in because something you know, feels heavy or burdensome or something inside of you feels not good enough, right? But to me, if I walk into an event that I was supposed to be at on time, if I walk into a meeting, if I walk into work late, you know, even if my car did break down on the highway or whatever, I'm still sorry. Like I still feel bad that that happened, you know, like I don't know, you know. Yes, thank you for, but I don't know, like there's still consequences, right? Like you show up to work late, you still get docked, even if you were being as perfect as you could possibly be, right? And I do lament that, so I am sorry. Anyway, this is starting to feel like an English 101 debate.
Yes. And I feel like I need the cacao to kick in a little bit better so I can present my case a bit more. It's just something that I have been witnessing happening a lot. And part of it was because it was presence that I was saying it too much. And, you know, another time I use it, and I don't do it as frequently anymore, but like if I don't hear what someone's saying to me, I'm sorry. Can you please repeat that? Like, why should I be sorry just because I didn't catch your words? Just could you please repeat that is sufficient. I don't need to be sorry about it.
Mm-hmm. Although sometimes I don't hear what people are saying, and on the third try, I'm totally sorry. Like by the third time, it's probably my fault. I'm just not processing. Sometimes if I get to 3, I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to move on. I'm not even going to ask anymore.
Yeah. But it also showed up in, so I believe it was the shock for balancing class that I had. And there were 3 women at this class. And one of the women in the class basically started every sentence that she said with, I'm sorry. And like, all of us took turns telling her, like, that's nothing to be sorry for. You don't need to say I'm sorry. And then at one point she goes, I'm sorry for saying I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that probably is some sort of childhood habit, right? Where, I don't know, you were the kind of kid that interrupted the adults. And so you always felt bad interrupting, or who knows, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just leftovers from life, you know?
And again, like something that needs to be, I shouldn't say need, but because even you could witness on this person, like the energy of it did not serve her in any way. And something, all of these things that if it's not serving you and empowering you, and time to make a shift, you know, one step can be not saying I'm sorry all the time. And you know, it might be a struggle too for you to, because you might not be overusing the word. It's just something that I'm witnessing out there in the world, that it's way overused. And now that I've been corrected, I find myself witnessing it in other people and supporting them in stop apologizing for existing, for being, for yeah, like it's something that needs to be healed. And just because it's become the norm in our culture doesn't make it right and useful and powerful. Let's be intentional with what we're creating. And creating a world full of people that are sorry is not supportive to a loving, powerful society.
Yeah. I think, like you said, you know, words have power, and really taking a second to see, how do these words make me feel, right? Do they make me feel better or worse? Am I getting closer to joy or further away from joy? So if there's any words in your vocabulary that, you know, like Marie Kondo says, spark joy. If it doesn't spark joy, then maybe remove it from your vocabulary. You know, one thing that I used to do was, I'd leave my house. I lived 40 minutes, 50 minutes from my work. And every morning I would leave my house in earnest on time. And for the entire 45 to an hour drive, I would check my watch and I would say, oh my God, I'm going to be late. 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 And I just sat there like worrying and worrying. And I was sick to my stomach by the time I got to work. Sometimes I was late, sometimes I wasn't, but I worried the whole way through. And then finally one day I just took off my watch and I said, you know, when I leave the house in the morning, I leave on time with all the intention of getting there on time. I don't swing by Starbucks. I don't, you know, take a detour on my way to work. I go straight to the office. So I know that I'm doing my best. And I stopped wearing a watch. And that was the last time I wore a watch, was in my 20s. To this day, I still don't wear a watch, because I find that I do want to be on time and I do want to, quote unquote, do the right thing. And the anxiety of I might not do the right thing is way worse than being 5 minutes late, you know, whether it's my fault or not, you know. So that's something that I love watches. I love how beautiful they look. And I do love to know the time often. But for me, it was just too much anxiety on my drive. And so I just made the decision not to wear the watch. It doesn't mean I got to work any faster or slower or anything like that, but I just didn't have that anxiety anymore, you know? So little things like that.
These were, so part of the whole I'm sorry thing is that it is an I am statement. And so everything that we put after the words I am, like, is casting a spell on ourselves, what we are. And so you had asked earlier, and as I'm like gathering my my thoughts here better, you said that, like, what are other options? And, you know, I did mention thank you for your patience. Excuse me is also not an I am statement. So it has less of a disempowering thing on your being. And you know, a lot of times I said we start I'm sorry when we're wanting someone to listen to us. And so instead of saying I'm sorry, say I appreciate you listening, or I value your time. But these are far more empowering ways of saying what we want to say, getting someone's attention without saying, I am full of sorrow, which is essentially what you're saying when you say, I am sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see saying, hey, I'd love to add something here, if you will, you know, something like that. Sure.
Yeah, it's just, and I'm curious now that we've had this conversation, we've created some awareness around this. Like, you might notice, and I'm saying this for our listeners, you might notice now more where you're saying it, and is that what you should be saying? And you may also notice others saying it. And so I remind others when they apologize to me, when they say I'm sorry for something they didn't need to say that for, I just remind them, nothing to be sorry for here. Like, you know, your words have value. I want to hear what you have to say, or whatever that is. Or, you know, like my clients, like, yes, I know that in general, you know, there are those people that are just habitually late. That's something else that they get to work on. But in general, my clients are trying to arrive on time, and sometimes traffic gets in the way. There's trains, there's accidents, you know, stuff that happens along the way. And, you know, when they're like, I'm running late, I'm like, it's okay. Just drive safe. Everything's going to be fine. Nothing to be sorrowful about. It's, you know, it's part of life. And so I just invite people to have greater awareness around this and see how shifting that creates a shift within you.
Love it.
All right. You got anything else for today?
Nope. Happy fall. Happy Halloween coming up. Happy Dia de los Muertos coming up. Celebrate and enjoy this time of year. It is so fleeting. Don't forget to dig into your closets and get your winter stuff out. I know I have. I am ready to go. Hunkering down. Here it comes. Yeah, all good things.
Awesome. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I think we can call this one a wrap. And I want to wish everybody a magical day.
Bye, guys.